All right. Well, good evening. Welcome back. This is part two of our me going through my top 100 or all 169 movies that I watched in the year 2023. We're going to be going through the top 50 that we left off on last night. So these are going to be the
Right.
50 best movies out of everything that I watched last year. So I have them all queued up. We're going to try something a little different. That way I don't reveal my hand like I was doing last time. So we're going to do a little switcheroo real quick. Here it is. And sitting at number 50 is going to be the comedy Bottoms.
Okay.
You didn't catch this one, right? This
I did
wasn't
not.
all
No.
right. I don't know what movies you've seen and what you haven't. So Bottoms is it's basically like lesbian fight club, I guess is the way that you would put it.
Okay.
um, in that there are two lesbian high schoolers, and
Yeah.
they are looking to meet women, and so they start a fight club after school. And it turns into like a very pro women, like positive thing for all the women who join the fight club.
Okay.
There's also some like the jocks are part of it, and they don't like that the women are starting to have empowerment. It's very much a feminist movie. It is funny. It's probably one of the funnier movies that I've watched all year.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
the reason it's kind of down here is one, I don't like comedies.
Right.
As we know, I am not a comedy fan, and then also, um, it just got a little too weird towards the end for me.
Okay.
The ending of this movie just it gets strange. They go places that I don't know that I would want a mostly serious movie like this was to go.
Okay.
But yeah, so at number 50, Bottoms. I know if Tiki was in the audience, which doesn't look like anyone's in the audience right now, but he loves this movie. We were debating because we're hosting a 2023 award show,
Oh,
and
cool.
he put that in all of the put that in
Every
all of the
category.
categories.
Huh.
Yeah, I liked it. It wasn't my favorite. So now we're
Interesting.
going. Now we're gonna jump to my next one, which at 49 is Theater Camp. This is a comedy set at a theater camp.
Yeah.
And I think I had one of the better reviews that I've had out of everything that I reviewed. Is on one hand, it felt like an episode of Parks and Rec, including a someone playing basically Andy Dwyer.
Okay.
Um, but on the other hand, it attempts to make us think theater kids are people. Um, it's very like I wasn't a theater kid. I didn't do theater.
Yeah.
um, but it's funny. It does make you laugh. It's very the reason I liked it, the reason I have it this high is it felt like an episode of Parks and Rec. The humor was
Cool.
very the humor was very Parks and Rec. Um, so yeah,
Cool.
49 is Theater Camp. Um, 48. I don't know if you've seen this one.
Let's see.
Um, I don't think you have, but it's possible. Sitting at 48, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
I
Mutant
have
Mayhem.
not.
You didn't catch this one. Damn.
I did not yet. I had started to put it on, and my daughter was not in the mood, so
Hmm.
I saved it for later. That's definitely one I'm gonna watch at some point, though.
Yeah, I recommend it. It's one of the better animated movies that I've seen this year. This year was rough on animation.
Yeah.
Um, there were some good ones, some great ones even. But Wish and Migration and Mario, they were all just kind of okay.
Yeah.
Um, but Ninja Turtles, I'm not a Ninja Turtles guy. I've never really been a Ninja Turtles guy. I've liked them enough, but it was never like something I got really into. Like I don't know the turtles' personalities as well as
Now, do you know where the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was created?
it was from a guy from Maine, right?
No, Dover, New Hampshire.
Oh, New Hampshire. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, right around. Um, and I don't dislike the turtles. Um, as it shows by this movie being in the top 50.
Fair
But this
enough.
is one
Yeah.
of the better Ninja Turtles movies. Definitely better than the Michael Bay ones.
How was Seth Rogen's writing?
Seth Rogen actually did a good job writing this one. This movie feels grimy. Like you walk into this and it feels like you're in the New York City sewers. It's a grimy movie, but it's also got like lighthearted parts. The turtles feel like teenagers, which is
Cool.
something that I've noticed that turtles don't always do. They don't
Yeah.
always feel like teenagers. Um, Jackie Chan is great as Shredder in this one.
Awesome.
Um, or not Shredder, Splinter.
Oh, Master
Shredder
Splinter.
is not in the movie. Um,
Okay.
but all the other villains are, and that's kind of my big issue here is they do something with the villains that just kind of, I don't know, make it hard for the next couple movies. I think
Yeah.
Shredder's not in it and Krang is not in it, so like they saved the big guys, but like you get Superfly voiced by who did Superfly? Voiced by, it's somebody I know, Ice Cube.
Okay.
Yeah, so Superfly, voiced by Ice Cube, is the main villain, but you also get like a bunch of other characters, including Bebop and Rocksteady.
Cool.
Um, but yeah, it just, to me the villains are just minute or a little overdone, and they do something with them at the end that I think will make it hard. I did really like April in this movie. A lot of people were like, "Oh no, they're ruining April because they made her not a a skinny white girl," but
Come on.
I thought she was great. I thought her character was mostly all right. There is one joke with her I can't really get behind, um, but it's just something that she does. Is nothing about her character.
Gotcha.
And yeah, I think this was a really satisfying Turtles movie.
Cool.
And it's on Paramount Plus for anyone looking for it. Greetings to Theme Park Priest in the comments. Yeah, I haven't told you about any of the people that might be showing up. We have a priest in our community, which is awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, who likes theme parks, so that's cool. Welcome. So here at number 47, we have Nimona. This is a Netflix original, and I don't know if you know anything about this movie.
I do not. I've never even heard of it, to be honest.
So this was going to be Blue Sky's next movie before
Okay.
Disney bought Fox, and Disney shelved it. And
Gotcha.
which is really unfortunate because it's a good movie, but it's also probably the only like mainstream LGBT animated film like that I've ever seen.
Okay.
And Disney kind of, they just set it aside, and Netflix ended up picking it up, and they finished it up and put it in and premiered it, and it's pretty good.
Cool.
This is a, it feels Netflix, it's got some of those Netflix moments.
Right.
But it's got a pretty solid cast, particularly Chloe Grace Moretz and Riz Ahmed. Both do
Yes.
a really good job.
Cool.
It's a great, like, one of my big issues with like LGBT movies are when movies try to just like make that the character trait, because then it just feels forced. And
Right.
that's when people get mad about it. This doesn't. It's just like, hey, the character is gay. Cool, let's move on, kind of thing. So I
Okay.
thought they handled that really well while also being decent representation. And the characters are fun. The character designs are fun. The animation's maybe not the best, which is probably why it's not super high.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a solid enough watch, and I do recommend it. And it got nominated for Best Animated Picture in one of the two that we were looking at. I don't remember if it was the Globes or the Critics' Choice. I think Critics'
Okay.
Choice. But yeah, so it could. It's not going to win because there's two other movies that are going to be duking it out. But it got nominated, so
Yeah.
that's nice.
Cool.
Coming in at 46, this is a movie that I remember we saw the trailer, and both of us looked at each other and we said, we're not allowed to watch that movie, if that hints at anything.
I don't recall. Let's see.
It's
Oh, yeah.
so the Blackening is a satirical horror comedy, very much poking fun at the trope that black characters die really quickly in horror movies. Like to the point that the tagline is "We can't all die first." Um, and I watching this trailer, I remember being like, "Yeah, I feel like I'm not allowed to watch that movie."
Yeah.
Or I feel like I'm not allowed to laugh at that movie. But
Right.
it's very much not kind of how it seems to be. It's not like a. It's very much just a pretty standard satire horror comedy.
Okay.
Um, the horror is not there. It's very like not scary. So if you don't like horror, there's barely any here. There's like no jump scares. There's a little bit of blood, but it's like not that much.
Cool.
Uh, but the comedy is great. It's really funny. There's some really great satirical bits. As a horror fan, I got a lot out of it. Um, if you're not a horror fan, I don't know that you're going to get as much about it.
Okay.
Um, or out of it because a lot of the jokes are also for the black community, of which obviously we are not a part of. Um, so like there's some inside jokes I didn't get for sure. And that's by design. But like the horror jokes were great. The satire was really solid, and overall, I thought it was one of the better comedies I've seen this year.
Cool.
Next up, we're going to jump to 45,
Okay.
and this one is a movie that came quite literally out of nowhere. I had not heard about this movie until the day that it like the day it came out.
Okay.
When people started reviewing it. This is a Hulu original. It's called No One Will Save You. And
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard anything about this movie.
I have not.
So this one is an alien invasion horror movie, starring Caitlin Dever pretty much as the only character in like 99% of the movie.
Okay.
And the cool thing about it is she barely talks because she's the only person in the movie. Um, so there's very little dialogue. It's very much a like a I hesitate to call it horror because it's not scary, but like a thriller kind of home
Yeah.
invasion movie, but with aliens. Um,
Cool. Concept sounds interesting.
yeah, and the alien design is a little bit like kind of whatever, um, but it's a solid enough movie. This is one of those horror movies that I would recommend to people who aren't horror fans because I think it's fun. And it turns into Home Alone kind of there in the middle. Like there are some Home Alone style traps that I thought were a lot of fun.
Sick. Yeah, that does
Um,
sound fun.
but yeah, I recommend No One Will Save You to anyone who is watching. All right, my next one at 44. This is one I think you did see.
Okay.
Um, maybe not, but I thought we talked about it. But we have Elemental.
Yes, I did see this.
You did catch it. All right. What did you think of Elemental?
So I had it 14 out of 30. I thought it had a strong premise, but like a lot of Pixar lately, the execution was a little bit off.
Hmm.
But I did really enjoy the world and the world building. I just thought some of the story aspects with the romance was kind of lacking.
Hmm.
Um, I did like the characters a lot, and I definitely think they could build upon it with a sequel.
Yeah.
I'd give it like 3.5, 4 stars, maybe.
Yeah. And as you can see, that's what I gave it.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I thought the strongest part of Elemental was the immigrant story, and I think they should have marketed it as that instead of as the rom com
Right.
because there were good elements of the rom com, but like it wasn't a rom com. There was a little bit of romance. Um, but yeah, it's I think it's good. It's not Pixar's best, but it's also not Pixar's worst.
No. Yeah,
Anyone who
definitely.
says that, yeah, anyone that says Pixar's like over, I don't know what they're talking about because like this was a good movie and it had legs in the theater too. Like it opened very disappointingly, but it showed up towards the
Yeah.
end. So
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
Elemental, I think was a better movie than I kind of expected it to be, and I really enjoyed it. Yes, Wade's character introduction was a lot. That was
Yes.
probably one of the weaker parts of the movie.
Yeah, honestly, I think the whole romance storyline didn't need to be there. Like it was
Hmm.
just about the immigration storyline. But then I guess they were trying to differentiate it a little bit from like I know it had drawn some comparisons to like Zootopia and to like a mix between Zootopia and Inside Out, and they were kind of
Right.
trying to give it that romance plot line. But I thought that was definitely the weakest part.
Yeah, I enjoyed Ember as a character, and I even enjoyed Wade as a character. Kind of once the movie hit its stride, um, kind of towards the middle part. I do
Yeah,
think that like the climax of the movie kind of is where it got brought down for me. Like they fixed the dam. I kind of feel like the dam breaking again was just kind of cheesy.
agreed. Yeah,
I would like to see just like focus more on like the character beats than like the oh no we have to save the day kind of thing.
fair
Because
enough.
like Ratatouille, my personal favorite Pixar movie,
Mine as well.
um, there's no big final like gotta save Paris thing. It's we gotta make a good dish to please this while
Right,
also tying up the evil chef, right? Like it's small scale, and I think Pixar does small scale really well. Even like the bigger scale small scale or Pixar stuff is still relatively small in their good stuff. Wally,
right,
um, um, the Toy Stories generally, other than Toy Story 3,
right.
which is a little bit bigger. But yeah, like
Hot
that's what
take:
I
Toy
yeah.
Story 3 is the worst in the franchise.
I don't agree, but I don't know where I would put all of them because I think they're all fantastic movies.
I go 2, 4, 1, then 3.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to like rewatch all four of them, and like
Fair
two
enough.
used to be my least favorite, but then I rewatched two. I'm like, no, Toy Story 2 is actually a good movie. Um, but yeah, so that is number 44.
Cool.
Number 43 is another comedy. We're kind of in the comedy section right now because it's the movies that I kind of liked, but I just don't like comedies. So, but we have Joyride. Um, this is about two Asian American friends who go to China trying to find one of their mother, while road trip shenanigans kind of ensue.
Cool.
Um, it's got Stephanie Hsu from Everything Everywhere All at Once,
Yeah.
and then a bunch of other people that I'm not familiar with, but here is the list here. And I went into this one kind of expecting it to be about as good as it was. It was funny. It had some really funny elements. Um, there's one character that I did not expect to like that I ended up being my favorite character.
Okay.
Um, and I think this one's worth the watch. I think this is better than the other comedies we were talking about with Blackening and Tiki. If you're watching this, you're gonna, yeah, Deadeye was the character that I was talking about. You're gonna hate this because you showed up a little late, but Bottoms was my number 50. I like this better than Bottoms. But yeah, I'm just not a comedy guy, and these are just kind of the ones that just kind of that's where they fall. I thought they were enjoyable enough, and I think they're worth watching, but maybe not like they're not going to make it into my top, 30 or whatever.
Right.
All right. Oops. I just closed the wrong tab. That's okay. We're gonna jump now to number 42 with another movie that we were both talking about quite a lot. Um, back in April when this one came out, but I don't think you ever got a chance
Got
to
around
see
to
this
seeing it.
one. Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe you did. We got Guy Ritchie's The Covenant.
No, I did not.
Yeah, so
I very much wanted to, and every time
mm,
I went to put it on the TV once it was on streaming, I was shot down by my partner, who's very much not interested in watching this, and I never got around to it.
damn, that's too bad. This one was really good. It's a military movie, so you kind of get the military propaganda and everything going on in here. But at the base of it, it's really a story between the two characters. Um, you have Jake Gyllenhaal and you have Dar Salim, and they are the two characters who you really follow. You
Right.
grow to like them a lot, and you want to see them end up safe at the very end of the movie.
Cool. Where does
It's in
this? Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, it was. I mean, it was intense. It was pretty. It's worth the watch. I would recommend it. Even as someone who's not the biggest fan of the military.
Right. So where would this rank in the Jake Gyllenhaal
Oh,
pantheon?
and Jake Gyllenhaal. I thought you were going Guy Ritchie. It's probably middle of the road.
Okay.
Like he does good here. I think it could have been anybody really. I don't think this was like a Gyllenhaal standout performance. It's not like a Nightcrawler.
Right.
Um,
Well, fair enough.
but yeah, I think it's a fine performance. It could have been, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck. It could have been any of the white guys that do this kind of movie.
Yeah.
All right, at number 41, this might be a hot take. I know not everybody enjoyed this movie, but I fucking love this one. I couldn't justify putting it any higher, but it's Cocaine Bear. um,
Oh,
I
yeah.
had a absolute blast with this movie. Did you catch Cocaine Bear?
I did. Yeah, I have it at 16 out of 30. I thought it was great. I thought it was fun. Type of movie you don't see too often these days, and great cast, great laughs, great slasher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought this one. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say this was a good movie. Um, like if you want to watch something serious and like movie, you know that you're not going to get that out of Cocaine Bear. You go into Cocaine Bear because you're like, I want to see a bear on cocaine, and I want to see that bear just tear through people,
Right.
and that's exactly what you get. Um, I thought there were some really brutal kills, like some of the most brutal kills in a
Yeah,
in a horror movie this year.
it was
Um,
very gory.
and it had some of the best laughs.
Yeah,
Um, I thought the characters, while maybe not like being performance of the year acting, it was there were some good characters in here. They were fun.
yeah.
Particularly O'Shea Jackson Jr. He was
I was
also a
gonna
lot of
say,
fun.
yeah, I think he was the standout.
Yeah. But like all the characters were fun. This was just a blast of a movie. I have watched it a couple times. First time I watched this, I was babysitting, not babysitting, but house sitting my two cousins who are uh, sophomore and junior in high school. While they were making sure they weren't throwing parties, and they're like, "Hey, can we watch a movie?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what do you guys want to watch?" And they're like, "Cocaine Bear." So I put it out, and I
Nice,
fucking loved it. And then we watched all three Evil Dead movies.
legendary.
So it was a good night. But yeah, Cocaine Bear, absolute blast. One of my favorite enjoyable experiences of the year. You're gonna see some of my movies coming up are not enjoyable experiences. But they
Right,
are good. They're better movies. But this is probably my favorite, like pure fun of the year.
definitely.
All right. Jumping into number 40, this is a movie almost nobody has seen, and I mean that because I am the only person on Letterboxd to have rated it,
Huh.
and one of two to have reviewed it, and one of two to have seen it on Letterboxd. But this is a personal pick for me for a movie that I really wanted to watch, and that is a documentary called American Bolshevik, and it is about coyotes. Um, I am. It's about coyotes in New England, more particular. And I, as a New Englander who loves, animals and wildlife, I was super excited for this movie. It was one of my most highly anticipated documentaries. Um, and it was a great documentary. It talks about coyotes and how important they are for the ecosystem and trying to live alongside coyotes. The shots were really good. My biggest qualm with it is it feels more like a PBS documentary, and I had to pay $15 to buy it because there was
Wow.
no rental option when it first came out. So I don't think it was worth the $15 that I paid for it. But now that it's like, I think it's like $2 to buy, I would check it out. I think it's if you like animals and you care about native animals, I think this is one of the better documentaries
Can we
about it.
can we see the other review other than yours?
Yeah, it's all caps. Um, Here it is.
Wild.
Yeah. So somebody liked my. Oh, you did.
I did.
Somebody liked some rando liked that one. But yeah, so that's American Bolshevik.
Cool.
Yeah. Again, I'm one of two, so uh, I'm special in
So
that way.
yeah, You could say you're an expert in this movie.
Yeah. Now this is one that I know you've seen because you actually made,
Okay.
not made me, but convinced me to watch it. It's Tetris.
Yes.
Um, Out of all the corpo biopics, you're gonna see most of them pop up here because the only one we've covered before this is
Flaming
Flamin'
Hot.
Hot, which is the
Correct.
worst
Yeah.
one of the year.
Right.
So Tetris, I enjoyed Taron Egerton.
As did I.
I thought he was great in this movie. Um, I just
What
kind of
number?
don't. This is at number 39.
Okay.
My big thing is I just kind of don't care about Tetris as like a game. So it took me a minute to like get into it. But overall, like this is a Taron Egerton movie. Like if you're gonna watch
Yeah.
this movie, it's to watch it for Taron Egerton because he does do really well.
He had a great performance. Yeah. I had this one at 13 out of 30. It would
Hmm.
have been higher. And in fact, it probably was nearly in my top 10. But then the comically evil Soviets at the end kind of
Yeah,
threw it off for me. I mean, they were so maniacal. It was unbelievable.
right. It felt like watching a superhero movie.
Yeah.
It was like watching a Captain America movie. Like it was a little over the top.
Yeah. And then it had that Argo homage
Hmm.
with the car chase to the airport.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's one of those movies that I think's worth the watch. But like out of all the corpo biopics that we got, um, it's better than Flamin' Hot.
Yes.
Coming in at number 38, we also have another documentary. And I think this is my last documentary on the list. It is. So this is
Highest
my
documentary.
highest ranked documentary of the year, and I think it deserves it. This one is still a Michael J. Fox movie. Um, this one is obviously about Michael J. Fox and his battle with Parkinson's. And I thought it was going to be like a sympathy movie, like a, oh, feel bad for Michael J. Fox kind of movie when I first like saw the trailer of it.
Yeah.
But it's very much not that. It's very much just like about Michael J. Fox. It was about
Cool.
him and his career, and then how he's dealing with it now. And
Awesome.
I like Michael J. Fox quite a bit. I love the Back to the Future movies. Um, and I thought it was a solid documentary. It's emotional. He's alive, but like
Yeah.
towards the end, it's kind of an emotional movie. And I thought it was the best documentary that I saw this year.
Awesome.
Now we have number 37. Another movie not a whole lot of people saw. I didn't know anybody else who's seen this one. There's more people on Letterboxd than with American Bolshevik, but this is Wildflower. It was a Hulu original, and it stars Kiernan Shipka of the rebooted fuck, what is it? Um, Sabrina the Teenage Witch on
Okay.
Netflix. Yeah, so she stars in this, and that's the only thing I had ever seen her in before this year, and that's not a very good show in my humble opinion.
Right. That's the Riverdale adjacent one, right?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
watched the first season of that, and I'm like, wow, this sucks. But she actually did really good here. This was is the story of a character who has two special needs parents, and is navigating life about that. It's one of those. This one to me felt like you've seen Edge of 17, right?
Yeah.
Or like a Ladybird. Um,
Ladybird. Okay.
yeah, this to me felt like one of those. It's very much a coming of age, um, Edge of 17 Ladybird type movie. Um,
Gotcha.
it's a little hokey at points, like the soundtrack's a little bit hokey and whatever, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. I actually thought this was it was a surprise for me for
Yeah.
sure.
Sounds pretty interesting. I might catch this.
Yeah, and it's got, I mean, look at this cast: Alexander Daddario,
Can't
uh,
go wrong with her.
Charlie Plummer. Like there's some there's some decent talent in here.
Awesome.
Um, and yeah, one of the I always love those movies. I always love those Edge of 17 types, or like a Book Smart.
Right.
I always like those movies, so I enjoyed this one quite a bit. All right, we were talking Nick Cage, and this is my top performance from him this year, coming
Number
in
one
at
performance.
number 36. The best Nick Cage movie of the year. Not my favorite Nick Cage performance because Dracula takes that, but the best Nick Cage performance and the best Nick Cage movie, and that's Dream Scenario.
Huh.
Um,
I
yeah,
haven't
this
heard too
one.
much about this one.
So it's about a guy who just like a very average regular Joe, who looks just like a random everyday guy, and he starts appearing in people's dreams, and not just like people he knows, but like everybody around the world. And so, have you ever seen that internet meme, the "Have you dreamt this man" poster?
No.
So it's like there was I think it was on Reddit or it was on like 4chan or something, and it went around. And it was a picture, and they like it was I think a creepy pasta of some sort, where it would go around and they're like, "Have you dreamt this man?" And people would like make up stories about dreaming him, and
Gotcha.
that's kind of what this took influence from.
Okay.
Um, it starts off kind of dramatic and like you're just following this character, and it starts off he's becoming popular, people love him, and then there's a point in the movie where he does something like in real life, and all of a sudden that translates into the dreams that people are having about him being horrible, terrifying nightmares.
Interesting.
So it's very psychological. It's kind of commenting on cancel culture and all that, bullshit or whatever. But they do it in a way that's not like ham-fisted.
Okay.
It's not like, oh, cancel culture bad kind of whatever. It's like, hey, maybe don't just jump onto viral trends without understanding. Sometimes it's manufactured, but also like sometimes people do bad things.
Right.
So it's kind of playing both sides of it, but I thought the performance was really good. There were points I forgot it was Nick Cage. Like he just blends in so well into this regular dude,
Awesome.
which I
So
thought was.
post pandemic, I'd say Pig was the best
Oh,
Nick
Pig,
Cage
yeah,
performance. Does this compare or
no, no.
no?
I mean,
Okay.
Pig's possibly Nick Cage's best movie ever. Like it's up there, like best performance.
Well, National Treasure, but
Um, but yeah, so not that good, like not Pig good, but it's one of his better ones post pandemic for
okay.
sure.
Cool.
Probably number two. Although I enjoyed Dracula more because that's a much more fun performance.
Gotcha.
All right, coming in at number 35, we have a horror movie. I know how much you love those. And this one is Cobweb. Now, if you want a movie that was set up to fail, you want to know what weekend this movie fucking came out?
Barbenheimer weekend?
Came out Barbenheimer weekend.
Yeah.
This movie was set up to fail. It stars though Lizzie Kaplan and Anthony Starr, um, who is Homelander on the
Yeah.
Boys. And holy shit, this is one of the most terrifying first and second act of a movie I've ever watched. The two of these characters are just terrifyingly creepy, without doing anything inherently like scary or bad. They're just like they just feel off like watching this movie.
Okay.
You're sitting there and it's just like these people are off and they shouldn't be allowed to have a child, but they do. And then in the third act, they introduce another character who's been there the entire time, but like they were living in the walls, and they appear at the end of the movie. And to me, it kind of took me out of it. And there's a teacher character who's like inserting herself in a way that I don't think a real teacher ever would. So that to me felt a little bit, kind of took me out of it in the third act. I really liked the first two acts, and I liked the third act, but it wasn't like
Gotcha.
my favorite thing. But interesting, scary movie. I just think probably would have been a better short film.
Okay.
All right. At number 34, the first ever Regal mystery movie that I went to. And we've got American Fiction. Um, this one was fucking hilarious. My biggest issue with American Fiction is that I never actually finished American Fiction. Um, I got up to, I found out 12 minutes, left in the movie, so that's why I felt comfortable enough ranking it.
Right.
But at the 12 minutes left in the movie mark, the sprinkler system in one of the theaters at the Regal I was at went out, and we all had to be evacuated. And they brought everybody back into the theater. And then after half an hour or 45 minutes of sitting there, they kicked us out again and said, "Yeah, we're not going to be finishing the movie." We had 12 minutes left in this movie.
Unbelievable.
Um, and unfortunately, it's just not showing anywhere. So like I can't find it anywhere near me to get that last 12 minutes. But I looked at the um, synopsis and I got kind of where it ends.
Okay.
But this is a great Jeffrey Wright performance. He is absolutely hilarious. Sterling K. Brown is great in this movie as well. Um, just a really solid comedy drama movie that I enjoyed quite a bit. And
Awesome.
if it is showing anywhere near you, I think is worth the watch. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be showing very many places.
Cool.
All right, 32. We were just talking about Kiernan Shipka. I had only ever seen her in the one thing, and then she showed up in like two movies on the same day that I watched. Um, the other one is Totally Killer, an Amazon Prime slasher movie. And the thing about this movie, which is currently sitting at 33, is that this fits into the movies we were talking about last night with Happy Death Day and Freaky. This is Back to the Future, but a slasher.
Oh, cool.
She goes back to the 1980s after her mom is killed by a murderer after 30 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, she goes back to the 1980s to stop the killer the first time, so nobody ends up dying in the future. So to save her mom,
Yeah.
and I like a good time travel movie. I love Back to the Future, and I love a good like slasher that's also playing on other genres. I love this trend. I hope it never. I hope we get more of it. Not that
Yeah.
it never ends, because like eventually, but yeah, I'd love to see like a Goonies slasher movie or something,
Oh, that'd
something
be
with
fun. Yeah.
um play off those 80s tropes,
Right.
But yeah, Totally Killer it was just a lot of fun. Honestly, it wasn't like
Sounds fun. Yeah.
it's not like super memorable. It's not like, oh my god, this is one of the greatest movies of the year, which is why it's sitting at 33 and not like number 3. But it's a lot of fun. It's probably up there with Cocaine Bear for a movie I just had a blast with.
Gotcha. Theme Park Priest says, I'm striking out on the movie so far.
Oh no. You might have seen some of the ones in the last part where we went through 169 to 51. um,
Right.
but yeah, at number 32, we have the other movie that came out Barbenheimer weekend, other than Barbenheimer.
Right.
And that is a little Netflix movie called They Cloned Tyrone. Um, you didn't catch this one, right?
I did not.
I think you would love this movie.
John
Um,
Boyega.
yeah, it's got John Boyega, it's got Jamie Foxx.
Oh, Kiefer Sutherland. Wow, it's a
Hmm.
stacked cast.
It's a really solid cast, and they dropped it without advertising. Basically, John Boyega is getting fucking screwed, man.
Yeah.
Like I like the sequels enough. I like two of the sequels enough person. Um, but I agree that like John Boyega got fucked over there, and then he's in this. He does a great performance here, and they just didn't advertise it at all. Like nobody even knew this movie came out.
Damn.
But it's about a company that is cloning people. Um, and
Is this
it's almost like Blade Runner in a way. Like it has like kind of a Blade Runner twist at the end of it.
so that cover kind of looks like black exploitation? Does it have any elements of that or?
There is, yeah. It's a satire in the same way that like The Blackening was a satire. So
Gotcha.
it's some racial commentary, it's it feels like if Blade Runner and Get Out were put into the same, were like made into a movie if they had like a
Yeah,
baby.
this sounds awesome. I might check
Yeah,
this one out tonight.
it's a movie. I think you should. I think it's great. And John Boyega, Teyana Paris, and Jamie Foxx, they're the leads. They were phenomenal. They worked together
Cool.
so well. So I think you would like this one quite a bit.
Awesome.
All right, at 31, and probably I've said this a couple times. This is one of my hottest takes in this list. Um, and film YouTube is going to be pissed off at me for putting it this low. But I have Past Lives at number 31. Past Lives is a drama romance movie about Greta Lee, and she's from Korea and she moves away to the United States, or to Canada actually. And she rekindles her friendship with a boy that she liked from Korea, and but she's married, and it's kind of a drama in that way. And I think honestly, the best part of this movie uh, was John Magaro as her husband.
Okay.
Um, this that sort of like theme you would think is like, oh, these two characters are going to get together, and the husband's like the evil bad guy who's stopping the true love, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he is not that in this movie at all. He is probably the most empathetic character in a movie all year.
Cool.
Um, and it was beautifully shot, beautifully acted. Like, this was genuinely like, it deserves all of the awards buzz and awards love it seems to be getting. I
Yeah.
just kind of didn't jive with it all that much because I found it slow.
Okay.
I thought, like, overall it was great, and I totally get why people love it. It just, for me, it was one of those movies that like just didn't hit me in the way that it hit other people. Like, if people have this at their number one of the year, I totally understand and get it. Um, just not for me. But
Okay.
31's not like a bad spot, I don't think.
Not out of 169.
Right. All right. Now jumping into number 30. Um, I like to watch movies that I don't think are made for me. I always find those to be interesting watches. And this is one of those. We have Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Um, this movie was very much like the other one, like Wildflower, in that it is just an edge of 17 childhood growing up, coming slice of life coming of age movie. This one is about a little girl who has Christian, I don't know what denomination of Christianity, but Christian, and Christian mom, Jewish father.
Okay.
And so she's kind of like living that life and like trying to find her path and trying to like also be like a little 13-year-old girl or whatever she is. 11, 11, yeah.
Okay.
Young tween. So she's dealing with all of that, dealing with like the childhood things, and it's got like that religious element. Um, and I found that really fascinating. I thought they handled it really well and really respectfully. I think that Rachel McAdams kills it as the mom in this movie.
Oh, awesome. I'm a big fan of hers.
Kathy Bates plays the grandma, which is great. I mean, who doesn't like Kathy Bates?
Right. She's great as well.
And the little girl, Abby Ryder Forston, she did really well in this movie as well. So I think this is a movie. I don't think there's many people who wouldn't like this movie. I think it's one of those movies that's just kind of a crowd pleaser for everyone. Um, but yeah, so
Cool.
that was my number 30. Coming in at number 29, here's a movie that you had been trying to get me to watch all year. So that
Okay.
probably tells you exactly what
Yeah.
it is. Here it is. We got Blackberry.
Awesome.
I love this one. I thought this one was great.
As did I.
Yeah, you can see we're getting into like the 4-star movies now. Like, these are all great movies.
Yeah.
Like 8 out of 10 stuff. Glenn Howerton absolutely kills it here.
Yes, he does.
Um,
Believable performance.
yeah, like he felt like my review was, I think, Dennis Reynolds. What did I say? Dennis Reynolds really wanted to be in the Social Network. But yeah, he's phenomenal here. Like, transformative performance, honestly.
For real. This movie was hilarious.
It
Not
was
only was it like compelling drama, but it's so funny.
it was really funny, and I liked it because it, unlike um, Flamin' Hot, unlike Tetris, unlike Air, which we'll get to, but this one wasn't about like a corporation that's still going.
Right.
This was like, this is dead, so we can
This
like
is a
poke fun
failure
of,
movie. Yeah.
right. And I like a failure. I like when
Yeah.
they throw in a failure here and there.
My favorite scene is when the iPhone's being unveiled and they're watching it like the plane just hit the second tower.
Yeah, that was the end of their life.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, this was. It had some really funny moments, like when he's trying to buy the penguins
Yeah.
just to like piss off the other guy. Like this, I really enjoyed Blackberry, and I think
So did
I'm
I.
glad it took. I'm glad I ended up watching it.
So yeah, so I had this 8 out of 30. It's definitely up there. But
Hmm.
did you watch the theatrical cut?
I watched the
Well, not
theatrical cut.
theatrical, but
Yeah.
the movie cut. Okay, because they did just for viewers to know, they did recut this into a 3-part like television type thing,
Hmm.
with some added scenes and stuff, for AMC.
Yeah. So for all 6 people who have AMC Plus, you can you can check out the Blackberry show. But yeah, my number two corporate biopic.
Cool.
All right. Oh, I should probably open the tab. There we go. At number 28, we've got a newer watch for me, a movie that I wasn't sure I was actually going to watch, but I ended up saying fuck it. I rented this one. But we got Anatomy of a Fall.
Oh, I heard this was
Um,
amazing.
this was really solid. Um, Stars Sandra Hüller, and it is a courtroom drama. Um, her husband falls mysteriously and dies.
Yeah.
And so they're in court trying to see if she is guilty of killing him or if it was a suicide.
Right.
Um, and the only defendant that or like the only witness that they have is their blind son. So it makes for a really dramatic movie.
Yeah.
It switched between like 3 different languages though. Like it was partially in French, partially in English, and there was some German in there as well. Um, so it's one of those ones you gotta
Right.
watch with captions. But yeah, I've seen this one. It's getting a lot of love for Sandra Hüller for awards. It's definitely getting for like best foreign language film, and I think it's well deserved. This is
Cool.
my third highest foreign film, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, so Anatomy of a Fall.
Sweet.
Jumping now to number 27, another movie I know you watched. Um, we have A Man Called Otto.
Oh yes. Yeah, I had this 9 out of 30.
Hmm. So yeah, A Man Called Otto. I mean, it's Tom Hanks, and it's a remake of the Man Called Ove movie, and it's very sad.
It is. Yes. One of
um,
a surprise sad ending too. Not that the movie wasn't sad before the ending,
mhm.
but it
Yeah,
kind of just
no,
hits you out of nowhere. And yeah, I cried. I'll be honest, I cried in the theater on this one. Um, I had a unique showing. I was in a small theater in California. I visited my grandmother. I was the only person under the age of 67 in the theater.
so you were in the target demographic there.
Yeah, but
But
yeah,
yeah,
this was excellent.
yeah, it was a great drama. It's very sad though. If you're not looking to cry, uh, don't watch it. My dad put this one on one day, and my sister was. It was the day after she broke up. Her boyfriend dumped her, and
Oh no.
she came downstairs and watched it. And then she's like, "Why did you make me watch that sad movie?" So yeah, definitely one of those movies that if you're not looking to cry, probably don't watch it. But if you are looking to cry, it's a good one. All right, coming in at number 26, another movie that I know you went to see because I was there with you. We got Creed 3.
Okay.
Yeah, so at 26, it's the lowest of my creeds for a yearly ranking video, or a yearly ranking, but that's just because of how many movies I saw this year, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
this was an amazing movie, I would say.
I loved Creed 3. I thought it's probably my least favorite of the Creed movies.
Is it?
I think so, just because
Wow.
of how masterful the other two are.
Fair enough. Yeah, I had this one at 7 out of 30 for the year.
Mm,
Uh, I both Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors just gave amazing performances,
yeah.
and Michael B. Jordan's direction was stunning. I was not expecting it to be at that level.
Yeah, I really liked how like Michael B. Jordan talks about how much he enjoys like anime all the time. So I
Yeah,
like to see I like those influences that he had in like some of the fight scenes.
right.
Um
Yeah, best
I
fight scene in a Rocky movie.
yeah, I would say it's up there for sure. Um the my big problem was the problem I had coming out of this movie, and it's a problem behind the scenes. But it's the lack of Rocky. um
Yes, yeah.
I just felt like I don't think every Creed movie needs Rocky in it, but I don't think they ended Rocky's storyline.
No, this one would have benefited from
Yeah,
having Rocky. When Creed's finally, facing the adversity, and he's getting ready for the big fight. I mean, that would have been a perfect time for Rocky to be like, "Hey, don't give up, kid." You know what I mean?
right. There were like two moments in this movie that I think having Rocky would have made this like a 10 out of 10 for me.
Fair enough.
But yeah, overall, I mean 26, not a bad ranking for it. And again, all of our opinions are um separating the art from the artist in the case of
Yes.
Jonathan Majors. All right, at number 25, another movie you and I went to see together. Any guesses?
Evil Dead Rise.
No.
Boy in the Heron.
Nope.
Uh,
We got Dungeons and Dragons.
oh, okay. So I had this
Um,
a bit lower.
I thought this one was a blast. Um, I loved most of this movie. Um, Granted, I think I played more D&D than you have.
Yes.
Because the boys and I would all get together, and unfortunately you weren't invited. um, with that friend group, but
Hmm.
yeah, we would get together on Friday nights and just ruin our poor friend Jimmy's life by not taking Dungeons and Dragons seriously at all, and just having a good time with it. And I thought this movie captured that essence really, really well.
Yeah. So I've told you before, my biggest complaint is, and I guess I just expected it from the nature of the movie, is I really wanted like a third wall break type, like Lego movie type thing,
Yeah,
where like dice is being rolled, and they roll a d20 on something, and something completely unlikely happens in the movie. Stuff like that, I
yeah,
think would have taken it over the top for me.
yeah. That I think that would have been a lot of fun, or even just like have like a visual of like dice rolling as they go to make attacks or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. But I did enjoy the movie. It was a nice fantasy adventure. I had it at 19 out of 30, but by no means did I think it was bad.
hmm But yeah, it's my favorite Hugh Grant performance of the two.
Fair enough.
He was actually enjoying being in this movie, I think.
Yeah, I had a lot. It's funny. Funnily enough, I had Dungeons and Dragons right above Wonka. So I
Did you?
guess yeah. So I had them back to back, 19 and 20.
All right. So we got at number 24, we have another horror. We got Saw X, which, if you asked me in the year of our Lord 2023 if I was going to put a Saw movie in the top 30, I would have said absolutely not. Um,
Yeah.
there are two good Saw movies before this movie came out.
Only two?
Yeah, Saw 1 and 2, the two directed by James Wan. Did he do 3? I don't like 3.
He did not. I don't
Um,
believe so. But I'm a fan of Saw 4.
are you?
Yes.
Nah. I don't like the Saws after Tobin Bell leaves, to be honest. I think he makes Saw, and him being back in this movie, in like being alive in this movie, instead of being like just a video recording, because they realized they shouldn't have killed Jigsaw in the second movie.
Yeah.
Um, but this one was great. It has you rooting for Jigsaw, which is crazy because like you shouldn't be. And like one of the big things about Saw is you watch it and you're like, I don't know if these people should actually be in these traps. Right, like,
Right.
one of them's cheated on his wife. Yeah, that sucks. That's a horrible thing to do. But like, does he deserve to, die for it? I don't know. This movie, they all deserve to fucking die. This movie you're watching, and you're like, yeah, no, go Jigsaw. Um, it's brutal. It's violent. It's got everything you want in a Saw movie, but the characters are fun. My biggest qualm here is it has the Mexico filter on it the entire time
Yikes.
because the movie is set in Mexico. So you got to put that Mexico filter on. But yeah, John Kramer is at his best here. Tobin Bell as John Kramer is phenomenal. And if you like Saw, I think this is a great movie. And if you haven't liked Saw like me in a long time, this one brought me back, and I'm actually excited for Saw 11.
Cool.
All right. Coming in at number 23, we have May December. This one's got Natalie Portman as an actor who is shadowing the life of Julianne Moore because she is a controversial person.
Huh.
The controversy here is that Julianne Moore, as an adult woman, had an affair with and married a 14-year-old character. And this is significantly after that time period. Like they're all adults now, but it's
Yeah.
it's kind of unpacking all of that. And Charles Melton, who plays the husband, the victim there, he was great. He was I could see him getting a nomination for best supporting actor here, um, and I would support it.
Interesting.
I could also see Natalie Portman getting nominated, although I don't know if she would. Um, I mean, it's not like a Black Swan performance for Natalie Portman,
Right.
but it's also not a I don't know, like a episode 1 performance of Natalie Portman's.
Okay.
So it's a solid one. I'd probably say it's around Annihilation levels of her performances.
Okay.
But
Cool.
it's a solid drama. It's the tension is building throughout most of the movie. It's pretty tense throughout the whole thing. And it has an all piano score, so it reminded me of The Room, and that took me out of it a little bit.
Wonderful.
Yeah, he released a movie in 2023 that I
Oh
didn't
yeah.
catch. Yeah, Big Shark by Tommy
Oh,
Wiseau.
interesting.
All right, at number 22, almost into the top 20 here. And this is where the list started getting really hard because I wanted all of these movies to be in my top 20. But we have The Iron Claw. Um, this one is about a wrestling family, the Von Erichs, and it stars Zac Efron
Yeah.
and Jeremy Allen White. And this movie I went to see um, and had a panic attack during it, so that was fun.
Right.
But yeah, The Iron Claw this is one of the better dramas of the year. Like, this is an emotional movie. I went into it, and there was a guy sitting right next to me, literally picked the seat right next to me. And he's like talking. He's like, "You know who these guys are?" And I go, "No." And he's telling me the story of them, but I'm like, "Hey, don't like spoil the movie." I wish he had, because I didn't know that like all of them except Zac Efron die in real life.
Oh God.
Um, So that's what spurred my panic attack. But still, solid movie, great performances. Probably Zac Efron's best performance ever.
Better than
Um,
High School Musical 3?
yes,
Wow.
yeah, because
It's a tough one.
High School Musical 1 and 2 were better performances. But good night, priest. Thanks for popping in while you
Have a
did.
good night.
But yeah,
Um,
so
yeah, I disagree. I think High School Musical 3 is a worse movie, but a better Zac Efron performance than the first two. But
we should go through the High School Musical trilogy.
we should.
All right, and at 21, you might yell at me for this one, but it's okay. Um, I know this is, I think, might be like your number 2 or 3. Um,
Air.
we got Air.
Yeah, I feel like this is a bit low, but
Yeah, I mean 21, so it just barely fell out of the top 20. I was trying to keep it in so hard, like I genuinely was.
yeah,
Um, but towards the end of the year, I just fucking, did we go over Ferrari yesterday?
no. Did we? No,
Did I forget to put Ferrari on this list?
I think
Did I?
so.
I watched 170 movies this year. Damn. Ferrari fell right in the middle, so that's kind of why I forgot. But I should go add that after the fact. But yeah, so Air, I liked Air. I thought Air was great. It was much better than I thought it was going to be. Um, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are gods among men. Jason Bateman does a great job. Chris Messina is hilarious. Viola Davis is awesome. Chris Tucker happens,
You didn't think he
but
was good in this?
I don't like Chris Tucker. I don't find him funny.
Damn.
Um,
Yeah, I thought
but
Viola Davis really. Her and Matt Damon were the stars of the show here.
yeah, and that's fair. I really like that they didn't do anything with Michael Jordan. Like they just left him off screen for the most
Right.
part, and never showed his face. Made it a movie not about him but about Nike.
Right.
So yeah,
And also it kind of doesn't take you out of it when you see someone else has my, you know what I mean? If you saw someone
right,
else's face, you're like, okay, that's not Michael Jordan.
right. And you can't exactly cast Michael Jordan.
Right.
um, but yeah, so I thought Air was great. It just barely missed out in the top 20. Um,
Okay. Fair
but yeah,
enough. Yeah, I had that one at 3, but yeah, definitely the best out of the Corpo picks.
oh for sure. All right, at number 20, which was jostling with Air for a while, but eventually ended up pushing it out. We have Saltburn. And this movie stars Barry Keoghan, who I absolutely love. I think he is the best person currently working to play a slimy little creep in a movie.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so it stars him. He is a down on his luck college student at Oxford. He's like on a scholarship, and he makes friends with a rich kid played by Jacob Elordi, and he gets to go to his house for the summer or for a break or something, and basically starts putting himself in that family's life and inserting himself into places he doesn't belong, uh, literally and metaphorically. Um, and it's just, if you like Barry Keoghan playing a weird little creep, this is probably the epitome of Barry Keoghan playing a weird little creep. Um,
Interesting.
there are some scenes in this movie that are disgusting. Um, like made me want to throw up, disgusting. But it was a blast. Um, it's got Rosamund Pike in here, so she does great too. I haven't seen her in anything major since Gone Girl, so it was nice to see her show up.
Yeah.
Um, Carrie Mulligan's in this one. Um, Jacob Elordi did great. There are 2 movies in my top 20 starring Jacob Elordi, so
Oh, wow.
that's that's really interesting. But yeah, so Saltburn at number 20.
Cool.
At number 19, another one I think you saw. Um, but we have at number 19 Asteroid City.
I did. I had this fairly low compared to you.
Hmm.
I had this 23 out of 30. I
Oh,
ranked
really?
white men can't jump above this.
Did you really?
I did.
Damn.
Um, you know, the Wes Anderson shtick is just getting a little old, and I'm just sick of him taking all these great actors and then having them act as wooden and plastic and unlikable as possible.
Damn. See, I'm the exact opposite. I love Wes Anderson's style. Um, and I thought Jason Schwartzman was great here. I also thought, what's his name? I'm looking at the list trying to figure out which one I'm talking about. Edward Norton. I thought Edward Norton was great here as well. I thought this was easily the most introspective of Wes Anderson's movies.
A bit.
And I appreciated that. I appreciated how some of the auteur filmmakers got a little bit introspective this year.
Yeah.
Um, and I liked it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was clever. I like Wes Anderson's style, so a little more than you do. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Although I wanted it to be like top five, and it just didn't end up being top five.
Yeah, I had high hopes for it, but I don't know. I guess just and maybe the TikTok Wes Anderson trend
Hmm.
kind of blew a hole in his style for me, but yeah, I just wasn't really feeling it with this one.
And that's okay. We all have our opinions. And I say that because my number 18.
Okay.
I'm gonna set up because I know I've said it 100 times. This might be my hottest take. We got Oppenheimer.
Oh wow, that's a bit low,
Yeah.
especially after
I
all the praise you gave it.
I thought Oppenheimer was a great movie that I just never want to watch again. I thought like visually, acting wise, written,
Really?
this was a great movie. But I just don't ever care to see it again. It was long for me,
Wow.
like kind of overly long. Um,
It
Not the
definitely was
longest
long.
of the
Yeah.
year, but long. Just a little too melancholic. Obviously, with the subject material, it's got to be melancholic. But
Yeah.
I also watched this one at 10 at night and didn't get out till like 1 a.m. So that might have influenced my after
Yeah.
watching Barbie. So that might have impacted me a little bit. What I will say is I think Robert Downey Jr. deserves and will win Best Supporting Actor
Yeah,
at the
for sure.
Oscars. I think this is RDJ's best performance ever. Definitely best performance since the MCU.
Yeah,
I love
hands
seeing
down.
him here. Killian Murphy was very good. Matt Damon was great. Um, all of the I
Florence
liked.
Pugh.
Yeah, she was good. Um,
Good.
yeah, I she didn't do that a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
fair
but
enough.
I enjoyed the moment she was in. But um, but I think my biggest issue was like he kept throwing like actors that you kind of know at the screen,
Yeah, a
and
little bit.
that kind of like it took me out when I saw Josh Peck. You know?
I same honestly with Josh Peck. I mean, I was watching it at home. I unfortunately I wasn't able to catch this in the movie theaters since I had a pretty bad car accident about 1 week before it came out. Um, I watched it 3 nights in a row at home. I loved it. But the Josh Peck scene every time was like, come on,
Hmm.
him of all people. I mean, just because he's so well known just for one specific, purpose. It's not
Right.
like some of these other guys who have range as an actor and you're used to seeing them in all these different things. Like Matt Damon did not even feel like Matt Damon to me in this
Right.
one. But Josh Peck literally just felt like they put Josh Peck
Yeah.
he was doing a recurring role from Drake and Josh or something.
Right. He was one of them. Huey from The Boys was another one that just like I saw him and I'm like, yeah, that's just Huey from The Boys. Why is he here?
Yeah,
Like they weren't playing a role. Like I don't know any of the character names for any of like these people that just kept popping up. Um,
right.
they show up for like a scene or two, and I get it, but like I don't know. It took me out of the movie a little bit. That's not to say Oppenheimer's bad. I absolutely think Oppenheimer's a must watch. Um, but yeah, it fell a little bit down my list just because I did enjoy um, 17 movies more than it.
Fair enough. I had this number 2 for the year.
There you go. So I know exactly what your number one is. Um, we do not share the same number one, but all right. At number 17, we have the last movie of the year that I watched. We got John Wick Chapter 4.
Huh.
You haven't caught this one yet, right?
I have not.
So I think the reason John Wick Chapter 4 falls to the fourth or to the 17th position is I haven't yet seen John Wick Chapter 3.
You have
Um,
not?
no, I've seen the first two. I missed Chapter 3 for whatever
Oh,
reason. Like it never ended up being. I never ended up catching it.
okay.
Um, so there were like I was definitely missing some pieces. Um, that said, Keanu Reeves is great here. Donnie Yen plays another blind assassin, kind of in the same vein as he did in Rogue One.
Yeah.
Um, Bill Skarsgård is great as the main villain here. Like the, you know what you're getting out of John Wick. It's the best action franchise currently going.
Right.
And I think this ended it perfectly. I know we're getting like some spin-offs, but I hope we never return to John Wick himself after this
Unfortunately,
movie.
I think I heard that chapter 5 is indeed in the works.
Of course it is. I hope it falls through because I thought this was a perfect ending to the John Wick franchise.
Fair enough.
All right. At number 16, another movie that I was hoping would be in my top 10 when it first came out. And it's in my top 20. But at number 16, we have Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I love Mission Impossible. I think Mission Impossible is possibly my favorite action franchise going currently.
Yeah.
I've loved all but like one Mission Impossible movie. You know, like Mission
2.
Impossible 2 is bad,
Yeah.
but the rest of them are great. And even Mission Impossible 2 is not horrible. It's watchable.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I agree with that. I was not able to catch this one yet. It is on my radar for one I'm going to definitely try to catch in the next couple of months.
yeah, and I thought this one was great. My biggest issues with this movie is number one, how they handle Rebecca Ferguson's character. Um, and then two, the fact that it's a part one. Um,
Right.
I don't like that trend's coming back. I'm going to be honest. Um,
Yeah. I think
like,
there's some weirdness too, is that because this movie for Mission Impossible standards kind of flopped,
mhm,
um, there was some talk that the next one will not be named Part 2 now, but instead get a new name,
I could see that.
which would make it very weird that this one is Part 1.
Right, just shave off the part one.
Yeah.
Um, but even still, I mean, it's a Tom Cruise action movie. Those are generally great movies to begin with. I mean, 2022 Top Gun Maverick was my number one movie of the year.
Yeah.
Um, I love them. The Mission Impossibles have pretty consistently ended up in my top 20 every year that they've come out.
Right. They're
Most of
great
them in my
movies.
top 10. So this is no different. It just so happened that this year we had some really great movies.
Fair enough.
All right. At number 15 is the other Jacob Elordi movie, a character or a person that I've never seen in anything but has become quite the star recently.
Yeah.
Um, but we got Priscilla. Now, did you like Elvis?
I did like Elvis, yeah.
So I liked Elvis because I like Baz Luhrmann,
Right.
and I love Baz Luhrmann's style. This movie made me hate Elvis as a person. Elvis made me feel bad for Elvis as a person. This movie made me be like, yeah, no, you deserved everything you got, Elvis.
Oh, jeez.
I think the two work really well as a double feature of showing how an abused victim can turn into an abuser when given power. I think it would be a really powerful, if not a little bit tonally strange double feature. Um,
Yes.
But one of my big issues with Elvis was that Priscilla was barely in it. They barely even talked about the fact that, he was in his 20s and she was 14.
Yeah.
Um, and but yeah, I think Kaylee Spaney was amazing here as Priscilla Presley. Jacob Elordi, I hesitate to say it, but I think he played a better Elvis
Oh wow.
than what's his face did it
Austin
now.
Butler.
Austin
Yeah.
Butler.
So
Austin Butler was just a little too hammy.
how did Nick Cage's cousin do directing this?
Um, I did see that TikTok. Um, yeah, Sofia Coppola. I mean, Sofia Coppola is a great director. Um, that family is a family of directors. And I think it was a beautifully shot, beautifully directed movie, well acted, and I think everybody should watch Priscilla.
Cool.
All right, at number 14, also kind of surprisingly not ending up in my top 10 of the year. A movie that was for a really long time until I rewatched it. And that is going to be Barbie.
Okay.
So yeah, at 14, I mean that's not a bad spot at all.
No.
Um, but yeah, I mean this movie's hilarious. It's heartwarming. It's charming. It's really like the production design is phenomenal here. Um, but on rewatch, I think that my issue with Barbie comes from the plot line with Will Ferrell.
Yes.
Um,
I also took issue with that.
yeah, like I liked it all until he showed up, and I'm like, we got to do this, especially because they did absolutely nothing in the movie. Like there wasn't any reason to have Mattel in there.
No, it was cliche. It was trying to break the fourth wall, but also, you know, fell a little bit flat. I really like this movie. It's number 10 of the year for me. But yeah, I agree. The whole Mattel part was kind of stupid.
Yeah, and I mean, I also thought America Ferrera's big speech towards the end was a little bit ham-fisted.
A little bit.
Um, but I think Margot Robbie killed it. I think Ryan Gosling destroyed it.
Yeah.
And for a movie called Barbie, I directed by Greta Gerwig, being this like super pro women movie, I think it's kind of insulting how good Ryan Gosling was,
Right.
and the fact that the Kens really did steal the movie. Simu Liu was great here. I love seeing
Michael
him.
Cera.
Michael Cera was phenomenal here.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, what else is there to say about Barbie? It was the biggest movie of the year for a reason.
Fair enough.
All right, at number 13, a movie you would just hate. This is a movie you would not enjoy in the slightest.
Okay.
But we've got When Evil Lurks. This is an Argentinian possession movie about a demon being like possessing a guy and going to be born onto Earth, and two brothers have to deal with it. Um, that sounds way more lighthearted than this is. This is a disgusting movie. It is sick. It is visually horrific. This has probably the best like practical special effects I've ever seen. Um,
Huh.
there is a scene where they have to kill a goat, and they shoot the goat. And I swear to God, if it didn't have at the very beginning of the movie, in what I watched, that no animals were harmed in the making of this movie, I would have thought they actually shot a goat. Like it was that
Oh
realistic.
Jesus.
Um, like it's a disgusting visual movie, but as a horror fan, I absolutely adored it. Um, it's not my favorite horror of the year. I still got quite a few, three, three or four if you count one of them as a horror movie. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was a great movie. My big issue with it here is I didn't love the ending. I think the ending was left on too drab of a cliffhanger. I would have rather they wrapped it up a little bit more. I don't mind a horror movie being a little bit more existential and like leaving you on like a what happens next, but I
Yeah.
would have liked a little bit more closure here than what they gave us.
Okay.
But not a movie I think you would enjoy in the slightest.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Um, Now, a movie I think you did enjoy because we went to see this one together. Um, this one is Evil Dead Rise.
Yes, I adore the Evil Dead franchise, and I really
Mhm.
like this movie.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably. It's not my favorite Evil Dead movie. In fact, I think honestly it's probably number 3 or 4 out of
Yeah, for
five.
me, it's number 3.
I think I would obviously Evil Dead 2 is the best one,
Right.
by far, and then I think I'd put Army of Darkness above it.
Same.
I don't know if I'd put the Evil Dead, the 2013 one. I don't know if I'd put that one above or below Rise, but I
I
loved
I
Rise.
I have it below Rise.
hmm Yeah, I loved Evil Dead Rise. I loved every fucking second of this movie.
Yes, this is an awesome movie.
It was bloody, it was gory, it captured the Evil Dead spirit just so well. It was mean. Um, the fucking cheese grater scene
Oh
lives
yeah,
forever in my mind.
yeah.
Uh,
That gave me a couple nightmares.
and the preceding scene, like of the little girl eating glass, which
Yeah, it was
um,
brutal.
people don't talk about that one because the cheese grater happened immediately after. But like that was also terrifying. Um,
Yes.
I, I also think Alyssa Sutherland killed this role. Um,
Oh, for sure.
like she was clearly having fun as a deadite. Lily Sullivan as the main character, she was great. The kids were great. This was a blast. This is probably my second most rewatched movie of the year.
So I would say for me, my only complaint with it is I didn't think that the beginning was necessary.
Yeah,
Um, it, I don't know. It kind of I feel like would have been better service to just open with the family and go from there. But I
I
understand why they did it.
I agree with that until we get to that title card, and that was the best title card in the
The title
entire
card
year.
was awesome. Yeah.
I would have what I would have liked to see is have them circle back to it and just have Ash like in a boat fishing, like
Oh, see, that would have been cool.
like just pan back to it at the end of the movie, like right after it happens, and then show just Ash in a boat fishing or something.
Yeah.
Like I think that would have really sold it. But yeah, I mean I love the Evil Dead franchise. It's probably my favorite horror franchise ever. Um I wouldn't rank a single one of them below 4 stars. Um so
Fair
yeah,
enough.
it was a good installment. Now at number 11, a movie that I tried so fucking hard to keep into my top 10. Like I really think it deserves it, but there was one movie that ended up edging it out that I didn't think would, and that is How to Blow Up a Pipeline. Do you like heist movies, Josh?
I do.
Do you like environmental movies?
I do.
You ever seen an environmental heist movie? Because that's exactly what this
I'm
fucking
not,
is.
but yeah, I wanted to catch this for a while, but wasn't really able to find anywhere to watch it, and kind of fell off my radar since then. But I see that it's on Hulu, so that's something I might watch pretty soon.
Yeah, so I mean, I'd probably put They Clone Tyrone as your watch after this, but How to Blow Up a Pipeline should be pretty close after.
Okay,
Um, all of the acting in this movie was great. Um, this had some of the highest stakes of the year. It felt like a heist movie, and it felt like a great heist movie. Um, in a year where we got Chicken Run and Mission Impossible, this was the best Mission Impossible movie of the year.
awesome.
Um, so yeah, I would definitely recommend How to Blow Up a Pipeline. I also read the book after, and it was nothing like the movie. All right, coming into the top 10, my 10 favorite movies of the year. And we
All
got to
right,
go with number 10. We got Poor Things. I like Yorgos Lanthimos. I like the Favorite. I like The Lobster. I like Killing of a Sacred Deer. This is my favorite Yorgos Lanthimos movie for sure.
okay,
Um, Emma Stone is great in this movie. But I think Mark Ruffalo and Willem Dafoe both absolutely steal this movie.
cool.
Um, Mark Ruffalo, I've never seen Mark Ruffalo act like this. Probably the closest thing I've ever seen was Spotlight. Like I love Spotlight. I think Spotlight's in my top 10 of all time.
Yeah,
Um, and he does good in that movie, but I think this movie is his best performance ever.
wow, high praise.
Um, yeah, and Willem Dafoe, I love me some Willem Dafoe. So
So let me ask you this:
yeah,
Was it worth it for us to not see this after Wonka and instead go on for me to go on a bender, or should we have seen Poor Things?
I think we should have seen Poor Things personally.
All right.
Um, but yeah, no, Poor Things absolutely deserves all of the buzz that it's getting. There's a point at the end where like the movie could have wrapped up, but it keeps going for like an extra 10 minutes that it didn't need.
Okay.
But like generally, that's why I didn't like fall higher into the top 10. But yeah, I mean, I loved it. Emma Stone was great in here, and I think Poor Things is worth the watch.
Cool.
Now, coming in at number 9, I would say the surprise of the year for me. I'm gonna say it. It's the surprise of the year for me. We got The Color Purple.
Oh, cool.
I like the 1980. Is it 85, 86? Um,
86, I believe.
yeah,
Yeah.
I like the Steven Spielberg, Oprah Winfrey Color Purple movie. This is a better Color Purple, like
Is
by
it?
far. I thought this was. I mean, I think the performances are stronger here.
Okay.
It's also a musical. It was one of those jump scare musicals.
Jeez.
Um, but I think the musical really benefited here, where Wonka kind of acted a little bit to its detriment, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And Leo, it definitely acted to its detriment. Um, but the Color Purple, I mean, the songs here maybe aren't like the most memorable, but they all work really well in the context of the movie.
Okay.
Um, and it doesn't feel like a musical in that like they stop what they're doing and break into a song. The songs feel very well implemented into what's happening.
Okay.
Fantasia Barrino plays Celie, and she does a great job. Taraji P. Henson plays Shug Avery. She does a great job, but Danielle Brooks is definitely the standout of this movie. And also, yesterday when we were talking about Rustin, I said Coleman Domingo does good as Rustin. Uh,
Yeah.
his his performance as Mister in this movie is the best of the year by far,
Awesome.
of his movies, and he's had a couple. But yeah, no, this movie came out of the gate swinging, and I did not. I expected to go in liking it. I thought it would make it into maybe like the top 30. I did not expect this movie to make it into the top 10.
Okay.
All right. Now we're getting into the top 8, and I want to see if you can guess what some of these movies are.
Okay.
Um,
Do I get hints or?
yeah, I'll give it to you because there's two options for this one. We got an animated movie next.
Okay, this next one is going to be The Boy of the Heron.
It is actually the other one. It is Spider-Man Across the
Spider-Man.
Spider-Verse.
Okay, I'm surprised only because I felt like your initial reaction to The Boy and the Heron was lower, but I also have this below The Boy and the Heron. I have this at 6 on my list.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, Boy and the Heron grew on me, and we'll talk about that when we get there. But Boy and the Heron grew on me where Spider Verse kind of fell a little bit for me.
Okay.
And really, what kind of killed it for me was in the same thing that killed Mission Impossible was that it's a part one. The big difference
Yeah,
is
and it,
Mission Impossible said it was a part one. This did not.
and this one had a pretty like egregious cutoff.
Yeah.
I mean, they had said that this was kind of the empire of the trilogy
Mhm.
beforehand, but I was not expecting just how immediately it cut off.
Right. No. Yeah. It needed a little bit more.
I
Like,
agree.
but the animation here is gorgeous. Um, the acting here is great. I mean, Jason Schwartzman had a fucking year this year.
Yeah.
But Haley Steinfeld, Shamik Moore, Oscar Isaac was really good as Spider-Man 99,
Yeah.
2099. Um, it obviously has burnt itself into the zeitgeist of the cultural zeitgeist of the 2020s in that the canon
Yes.
event thing, you still can't fucking get away from that.
That
But
musical note.
yeah. But I mean, Spider Verse deservedly ends up in the top 10. Um, there's
Yeah. So,
just a couple movies I like better.
do you like this better or worse than the first one?
I think I think it's better than the first one, in my opinion.
Really? Okay. So I put
I
this slightly below.
Did you? I like Into the Spider Verse a lot, um, but I don't know. I would have to watch both of them back to back to really compare them. But I think I liked the bigger. I know I always say smaller stakes, but I like the bigger stakes in this one.
Interesting. Okay.
And I really thought the Dot was a great villain.
I did like the Dot. Yeah.
Like I know we got some really good villains in the first one, but I like the Dot and how they played a smaller villain, and I think he's going to be a really interesting addition. Um,
Fair enough.
Although bring back Nick Cage as a Spider Noir, please.
Yes.
All right, at number seven, the next one. This is the other one I would call the surprise of the year, a movie I knew nothing about. Um,
Okay.
but and a franchise I'm not giant fan of. Any idea?
Uh, hmm, franchise. Can I get one more hint?
This is the highest rated foreign film.
Foreign film franchise. Yeah, I have no clue.
We got Godzilla minus one.
Oh, okay. Yes.
I didn't ever expect to cry at a Godzilla movie,
Really?
and I ended up crying at a Godzilla movie. This is um, my big issue with Godzilla has always been the human characters fucking suck. This is the opposite. Like I usually root for Godzilla in a Godzilla movie.
Yes, of course. Naturally.
This one I wanted to see Godzilla fucking get blown to smithereens,
Oh,
dude.
wow.
This is easily the best Godzilla movie by like a pretty far margin, I think. Maybe the
Awesome.
original Godzilla is rivaling it, but this movie is going to make Godzilla X Kong not a very fun watch for me. I'll watch it. I'm gonna watch it, but knowing what Godzilla can be now, Godzilla minus one was just a masterpiece of a movie.
Awesome.
It was also made on a less than $15 million budget, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, that's
Um,
crazy.
this is one I think you should definitely.
Yeah, this is one I want to check out. I'm a huge fan of the Godzillas, but I just never got around to this yet. But definitely one I will check out.
All right, the next movie, number six, is going to be. I think you're number one.
Okay, so that's Killers of the Flower Moon.
It is in fact Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yes, this is my number one.
Yeah, I mean, It's a great movie. Scorsese's a master at what he does. Um,
Yes, hard watch.
Very difficult watch, and that's why it's down here at six instead of up in the top five.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, it was a it was a great movie.
Lily
DiCaprio.
Gladstone needs all the awards.
So this is going to be my hot take here. Um, Thinking back on it, I think Gladstone did great for what she is in the movie. And I think if she stayed in Best Supporting Actress, she absolutely like if that's what she was campaigning for, she absolutely would have taken it and run with it. It was
Okay,
hers. They had it for free. Now that she's in Best Actress, I think there's more competition, and I don't think she stands out as much.
wow. I think
Um,
that is a hot take. I see her winning hands down. To be honest.
See, I don't. I see it going to Emma Stone personally. Um, I think she'll get a nomination, but I don't think she'll be the front runner by any stretch of the imagination.
Huh.
I think she's great, and I think as a supporting role, she is very good. But she spent like half the movie bedridden, you know.
Yeah, but
Um,
her acting, while bedridden, was insane.
yeah, um, yeah. I mean, it's a good movie. I think my other big issue with it is like I love Brendan Fraser, but when he showed up, it kind of took me out of it. Um,
Yeah, a little bit. Now, here's a cameo. I mean, not really a cameo because he was a central figure, but I did not realize that Jason Isbell was, in fact, the country singer Jason Isbell
yeah,
until a couple days ago, actually.
no,
Did not know they were the same person.
huh. But yeah, I mean, it deserves to be in the top 10 for sure. It's a gorgeous movie. It's gonna win. It's gonna be nominated for a bunch of awards. I don't know that it'll win a lot because just of how stacked this year has been.
Yeah, it was a stacked year at the top, but I think it'll get a few.
But yeah, so Killers of the Flower Moon. All right. At number 5, we have the other animated movie.
Boy and the Heron.
We got The Boy and the Heron. Um, yeah, this movie, I couldn't stop thinking about it after we watched it.
Same.
Um,
This was my number 4 for the year.
mhm. So yeah, I mean, this movie, this is, it might be my second favorite Miyazaki movie ever.
It's up there. It's a
I,
great movie.
I think the only one I'd put over it, like definitively, like off the top of my head, the only one I'd put over it is Princess Mononoke.
Okay.
Which is
I don't
I mean,
hate that.
that's my favorite. I think it'll always be my favorite. I think this is better than Spirited Away, which might be a hot take. I don't know, but I think
No,
it's better
I
than
don't think
Spirited
that's
Away.
too much of a take. Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, this is in like my top 3 or 4.
Yeah, I mean, great movie. The fact that Robert Pattinson was the Heron was insane to me.
Yeah, the dubbed cast was so stacked. It's almost like everybody wanted their chance to be in Miyazaki's last film.
And they all killed it.
They did.
I couldn't think of a single um, performance that in that dub that I would have been like, would have been better. Like I can think of some, like Ponyo, Betty White could have been out of it.
Yeah.
Um, Spirited Away, I get that like the little girl who plays Lilo and plays in Spirited Away is like the voice is cute. I can't fucking stand it in Spirited Away.
Oh wow.
I love her as Lilo, but I did not like her in the dub of Spirited Away. But I think every performance here, like between from Christian Bale to Florence Pugh to Robert Pattinson to Mark Hamill to Dave Bautista, like they all did a great job here.
Yeah.
So yeah, The Boy and the Heron.
Cool.
All right, at number 4, my fourth favorite movie of the year was a movie I saw very early on. It's a horror movie.
Okay. So Skinamarink.
We got Skinamarink. This is a movie that throughout the entire year I have told people don't watch Skinamarink. I have told people consistently, like if they ask, "Hey, should I watch Skinamarink?" I say no, because I don't think most people are going to like Skinamarink. I
Yeah, I
think,
would absolutely have hated this if I had gone to see it.
mhm. And I think most people would, and I get it. I totally understand. This is not a movie for everybody. It's not a movie for most people, but it absolutely was a movie for me. I was terrified. I was creeped out. This was a great cinema experience for me. Um, the aesthetics were great.
Wow.
I've
Look, looking at those ratings, it looks very spread out. Like a lot of
It's
people
very,
giving
yeah,
it 1, a lot of people giving it 5s.
yeah.
Very
It's got a
middle.
lot of 4s, a lot of 3s. Like it's one of those movies that's like got a pretty big spread there. Like
Yeah.
it's got a 2.9. Like it is right in the middle.
Yeah, that's kind of wild.
Um, and I totally get it. Like this is a divisive movie, and I don't recommend it to anybody who asks me if they should watch it. I say watch it at your own risk, but don't come for me for having it in my top 5. But this has been in my top 5 since I saw it. Like it has not left the top 5. Um,
Wow.
so yeah, I really enjoyed Skinamarink. All right, but there was one movie that was scarier in the theater for me, and that is my
Okay.
number 4 or my number 3.
And what is that one?
This was a summer watch, and it's A24. Any idea?
No, I'm not sure.
We got Talk to Me.
Okay.
Directed by 2 YouTubers from Australia, which is sick. I fucking love Talk to Me. This movie was terrifying. It was scary. It was feel bad. Um, but it was creative. It was original. The editing was amazing. And knowing that 2 YouTubers made it was really cool. Um, they took A24 took a chance on them. They bought their movie and they released it. And I thought it was a great addition. And I am glad that they got it wide release because I absolutely fell in love with Talk to Me.
Huh.
But yeah, again, not a movie I think you'd enjoy, but
No.
but a movie I thoroughly enjoyed. All right, now we're on the top 2. So number 2 is my favorite Christmas movie of the year.
Favorite Christmas movie of the year. Okay. So I know what your number one is, but I'm not sure what this one is.
All right, we got the holdovers.
Holdovers. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch this. I was talking to a coworker about it this weekend. It just I haven't had a chance yet since it came out so late, but definitely want to check out.
Yeah, this was. I mean, it's got the New England winter vibes.
Yeah.
So, being from New England, it felt cozy to me. Um, Paul Giamatti acts his ass off here. It might be his best performance since what's the fucking other Alexander Payne movie too? Um, Sideways. Thank you.
Sideways.
Yeah. So I mean, The Holdovers was a great movie. I absolutely loved every second of it. Um, it's come into my top 10 of all time, or my top 50 of all time for sure.
Wow.
Um, Possibly into my top 20. And it's a movie I'm going to watch every single year. It's also a movie I think has some awards opportunities. I think best original screenplay. I think Paul Giamatti could potentially take a best actor of the year.
Wow. High
And
praise.
I think Divine Joy Randolph is absolutely going to take best supporting actress.
Cool.
I would be shocked if she didn't. Like now that Lily Gladstone is out of that category, presumably, since
Yeah.
she's not campaigning for it, I think Divine Joy Randolph has it in lock. And
Awesome.
even Dominic Sessa, this is his first ever screen role, and he's phenomenal. I think you would love The Holdovers.
Yeah, I will definitely check this out. This is on my radar. One of these days, maybe
Yeah,
in the next week or two.
but that leaves one movie and one movie only.
Yes. So this movie was my number 5 of the year. At various times, it's been one. I've shuffled my rankings, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate Tiki is not in the comments anymore, because this was also his number one. We got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Hell yeah.
Um, I fucking love this movie.
Great
Uh,
movie. Best MCU movie, hands down.
by far. Best MCU movie, best Guardians movie,
Maybe
best.
best superhero. It's
It's
a
top three
contender.
superhero for me.
I don't know if it
Um,
overtakes Spider-Man 2 for me
See, I'd
or
put it above
Logan.
Spider-Man 2. I think the only one that it's fighting with right now for me is the Batman and Logan.
Okay, I have the Batman slightly lower, but Spider-Man 2 for me is kind of like the pinnacle of superhero movie.
That's fair. Spider-Man 2 is in my top 5 for sure.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I mean, I sobbed at multiple points in this movie.
I saw not only at multiple points, but at multiple points on multiple
On
rewatches.
multiple viewings. This is
Yeah.
my most rewatched movie of the year.
I can't
Um,
hear Dog Days Are Over without crying.
Dude, Dog Days Are Over. The soundtrack here. I mean, the soundtrack in a Guardians movie is always killer. Um,
Yeah,
but I
this
mean,
movie.
Dog Days Are Over. No Sleep Till Brooklyn was used perfectly, despite being a kind of
Yes,
overused song. I
right.
think this was a great use of it. Um, Creep at the beginning, the acoustic version of Creep.
Yep.
Since You've Been Gone, like these are some phenomenal songs. Um,
Yes.
and yeah, I mean, Guardians 3 ended up being my number one. At the moment I saw Guardians 3, I was like, yeah, this is number one. And
Yeah, it was an amazing
nothing has
movie.
topped it.
Fair
Um,
enough.
Easily in my top. I mean, honestly, it might be my best. It might be my best superhero movie because I think it's maybe not the best superhero movie, but it's definitely my favorite.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's up there for me.
Because I think this might be in my top 10 movies of all time. Honestly,
Wow,
like
that's high praise. I'm not sure I'd go that far, but I definitely could see the argument for it.
see it hit me just. I mean, the animal stuff is really what hit me.
Right.
Um, Rocket has always been my favorite Marvel character, and this one just solidified it. And
Fair enough.
I want to see a best voice actor category added to the Oscars because I think Bradley Cooper deserves his first Oscar for Rocket Raccoon.
True.
But yeah, so that is my top 10, as well as my top 50 of the year out of,
Awesome.
turns out, 170 movies because I never put Ferrari in there.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see where you end up ranking that.
It's like kind of in the middle. It's just down there somewhere. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed. I'm going to be going through the top 5 again during the Golden Peakies in February. So if you're watching from the boards, now you have a little sneak peek at what my top 5 are going to be. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and have a good night.
Thanks for having me. Take
Yeah,
care.
see ya.
Goodbye.